Hi and welcome to the Great Southeast. Let me introduce you to the gorgeous Jules. She's an 8-year-old diamond python. Now normally you'd find them south of the border, but she lives at Alma Park Zoo just north of Brisbane. This is just one of the many up close and personal experiences that you can have with the animals here. I'll introduce you to a few more later in the show. For now though, here's the rest of the team.
And Liz is off to a flying start on the Gold Coast, with Champs not far behind her at the wheel of his dream car, while Brian takes a turn through a Brisbane suburb that's finally getting its just recognition.
Well, it is bound to turn heads when a caravan of camels tiptoes along the beachfront of Kira next weekend. You know what? It's not a bad way to check the surf.
Southeast Queensland's foreshores have copped a battering from the sea lately. So organisers of the first Kira Kite Festival hope what they have planned will cheer beachgoers up.
And let these things fall down
Well, thanks, Desert Dancer. That was fun.
Camel rides will compete for attention with a parade of colour in the sky. And local band Lamplight will be one of several that provide an appropriate soundtrack.
So plenty on the ground and in the air.
Exactly, you're able to see it from a whole lot of vantage points.
Well, it's going to look amazing on the day. It's such a visual festival as well.
Absolutely, and the thing that it's free and it's a family-friendly event, that's what we try and do with our events on the beach.
If these platters from Shinzin and Cafe Fresh are any indication, then the food stalls and restaurants are going to do a roaring trade. But the focus, obviously, will be on what Alan Bailey and the crew from the Queensland Kite Flyer Society get up to.
How did you fall in love with kiting?
Something like 60 years ago. My grandfather said we get a piece of paper and a bit of dowel and put it all together and then we have a kite. So we ended up putting 2 balls of string together and we flew it in Bellevue Hill, and the flying boats used to fly over us and I always wanted to touch one.
It's a shame the wind's so strong today, or I would have loved to go at one of the power kites too. But you're probably right. I think I would have taken off with the kite if we'd done it today. What do you reckon the wind speed is right now?
Oh, about 18 knots.
18 knots? Yeah, I'd say at least 18 knots. What's involved with events with kiting?
Oh, we put on kite festivals all over the place and people call us and...
Sorry, And what can people expect from the festival?
Oh, heaps of kites and different kites, and we've got a fella coming from Tasmania and he brings these beautiful works of art that he makes.
What do you think it is that people love so much?
I think it's just the fact of being able to see something moving in the air. It's such a fascinating thing for the kids. They see the pterodactyl. They love that. They'll point it out where the parents don't even know what it is. So.
Do you have a favourite?
No, not really. Probably the dog, if any of them. He's been around with me for quite some time and he's well known.
For a brush with celebrity, look out for Jeff Wilson, whose Mad Way South kite buggy crossing of the Sahara last year is still being talked about. He and 3 other blokes did it in 26 days and raised about $40,000 for charity.
So this is the genuine buggy you tackle the Sahara Desert with?
It is, Liz. Yeah, this is the one. It's got a lot of battle scars and creaks and groans, but amazing. Just keeps on going.
And this is the extreme end of kiting?
It is. I mean, it's certainly the more extreme end, using a kite for travel around trees and, you know, ditches and things. It's certainly if you stuff up, it's painful. So
the next mission is the Simpson Desert, crossing that?
That is a major mission. No one's crossed the red centre of Australia by wind power. And we just came back from testing these out there. All this mud is actually from the Simpson Desert because it's so wet out there at the moment. But they went brilliantly, amazing.
I can just imagine you out in these remote, stunning landscapes and you've got your head in the air the whole time.
No, well, oh, no, that's going to stop. You get the feel for the kite in the end, like that. The only time you really have to look at it is when the wind changes direction or you get a luff. But, yeah, amazingly, you get to feel it.
The Kira Kite Festival is at the beach next Sunday, and it's free to enjoy the music, street performers, skydivers, and of course the rainbow of kites. But my advice, bring some change along for food and other activities.
It's not long until a very popular roadside watering hole on the Sunshine Coast will enjoy a week of birthday celebrations. 21 years on, the quirky Ettamogga pub is still one of Queensland's most recognisable tourist attractions. Check out the Aussie World website to see what's planned for late November. Coming up, Champs fulfills many a driver's dream.
Welcome back to the Great Southeast. I'm at Alma Park Zoo, just north of Brisbane, with Renee and her gorgeous daughters Sophia and Isabella, and you guys are locals.
Yeah, we live just down the road and we're annual pass members, so we pack a picnic and come down here all the time.
What a great way for the kids to get familiar with the zoo.
Yeah, we've been since she was very tiny, and when I was pregnant with her, and no, they love it.
Sophia, will you show me where the koalas are?
No, not there.
Oh, maybe later, and we'll take you there too.
The Ferrari 360 Medina. F1 electro-hydraulic transmission, V8 engine. It redlines at 8,500 RPM, has a downforce of 1.77 kilonewtons and goes from 0 to 100 in 4.3 seconds. But hey, who am I kidding? Does any of this stuff really matter? I just want to drive something that makes me look good.
I go back to black.
Niki Lauda, Michael Schumacher and Fernando Alonso, all great Ferrari drivers. You can now add Richard Champion to the list, thanks to the boys at Rent a Dream Car on the Gold Coast.
G'day mate, I see you fan of Ferrari.
Oh mate, she is a beaut, absolutely magnificent. This is something you can't do every day of the week. You just drive one of these?
Definitely not.
And where did the concept come from?
Pretty much passion for cars. Growing up, loving cars, living on the Gold Coast. What better match than surf and sun and a Ferrari and Lamborghini to drive?
Oh, can't wait. I am very, very excited. Oh my God! What I would give to have a sports car in my garage. Seriously, getting behind the wheel of a machine like this is about as close as I'll get to driving a Formula One car. And probably as close as Ferrari would want me to get. Arguably the coolest thing you could ever do. My new best friend, Abel, is cruising along in our other dream machine, a Lamborghini Gallardo. The tour takes you out the back of Nerang through the picturesque Numbaba Valley.
Racing like a pro now. Oh my God, it doesn't mean a lot.
Oh, Abel, that was incredible.
Not your everyday car, is it?
Mate, do you get that sort of reaction every time someone hires one of these things out?
Every time. There's not one time where someone is not left with a grin from ear to ear. It's just, how could you when you see these machines? At first, they're a bit nervous because they're expensive cars, but once you get in the car, you see how easy they are to drive. You see the passion that goes into it, and I think you just get caught up in the experience of the car, and it's just a whole day of pretty much enjoyment.
Now, mate, the fun doesn't stop there, does it? We've got two to pick from. We get to drive the Lamborghini as well.
That's right. This is just a pit stop. This is to see how you're going and just give you a quick tutorial on the next car to drive. Now, depending on what you start with, we switch at the halfway point, and then we take from there, let the fun begin again.
Go take a step outside, see what's shaking in the real world.
Not made for big guys.
Go take a step outside, see what's shaking in the real world.
The Gallardo is named after a famous breed of Spanish fighting bull. And I tell you what, it's like waving a red rag, giving a redhead like me the keys. Even staying under the speed limit. Yes, I did. You can enjoy the pure pleasure of this fine Italian automobile. Not to mention some pretty amazing views along the way.
I guess that's just the way it be. Is it the world or how I see me?
If you're going to drive around the flashiest looking car, then it makes sense to eat at the flashiest restaurant. And the Rent a Dream boys have that covered too.
Let's grab something to eat, mate.
Sounds good. it looks great. Thank you.
What are you? Are you a Ferrari or Lamborghini?
Oh, well, if you wanted to give either of them to me, I'd have whatever, but yeah, Ferrari, man. Lunch is part of the treatment you get on a Dream Day full tour, and everything is included in the price, which is one that, well, let's be honest, most of us could only splash out on for a very special occasion. If you're after a slightly cheaper version, well, why not try the half-day Dream Car Tour? The drives are available on Sundays or get a group together on other days. The only catch is you must be 25 years old and have held your driver's licence for a minimum of 5 years.
How was that?
Mate, that was absolutely incredible. That should go on everyone's bucket list. In fact, I just got a message through to pick up some bread and milk. Okay to take the beast?
Sorry, I'm going to have to get the keys.
Oh, mate.
Fairy lights, Santa Claus and his reindeer will light up Brisbane suburbs next month as creative types put on a show for 4KQ's Christmas lights. If you're planning to be part of this fabulous competition, you have less than 2 weeks to get your entry form in. A list of displays will appear in the courier mail to help the rest of us find where to visit. Did you know that US submarines were based in the Brisbane River during World War II? Brian Randall from the State Library reveals where next.
You might expect that Brisbane's newest suburb would be on the outer fringes of the city, but in fact it's very much at the heart of it. Tenerife was only given this increased status in 2010. Before that, it was officially part of Newstead. It was actually a decision in the 1970s to restructure city suburbs that was responsible for the demise of Tenerife's identity. But locals mounted an eventually successful campaign to get it back. Vicky Bridgestock is the author of Tides of Tenerife, and she has documented stories of the evolving community.
Tenerife House was actually built by James Gibbon. He bought 48 hectares of land up here in 1854, and he called it Tenerife because it reminded him of Tenerife in the Canary Islands where he'd spent some time. And he built this house in 1856. It's a very significant building. It was actually built for £1,715, which obviously was a lot of money in those days.
Much of Gibbon's land was later subdivided and the house was more recently turned into flats, but it remains an important part of the suburb's history. More recognisable to most people are the wool stores that still line the waterfront. This area was a real hub for the wool trade at one stage, wasn't it?
It certainly was. The first wool store was built in 1909 by Dalgety and Company along here in Macquarie Street. It actually backed onto the river, but unfortunately it was destroyed by fire in the 1980s.
Queensland Rail extended its network especially to service these companies.
The Bulimba line was actually a pay-as-you-use railway line that joined up with the CSR sugar refinery line further along at New Farm, and actually just transported the wool backwards and forwards to the ships.
So with all the wool stores, it was obviously very industrial area.
Very industrial area. They had some little workers' cottages close by where people who worked on the wharves and worked in the wool stores lived.
And the buildings have now been retained, haven't they, as the suburbs evolved?
That's right. We had urban renewal in the 1990s, which totally changed this area. For about a decade or two, the poor old wool stores were left derelict, and except for a few of them that were turned into factories or even storage depots. And then eventually the urban renewal transformed the wool stores into beautiful apartments, and of course opened up this whole river area that had been basically unavailable to the public.
Yes, it's wonderful, this building, isn't it?
Yes. McTaggart's wool store. McTaggart's was built in 1926 and it was renovated in the 1990s. They've kept the corridors and the
It's wonderful the way they've combined the new with the old. Yes, it's wonderful, this building, isn't it?
Yes. McTaggart's wool store. McTaggart's was built in 1926 and it was renovated in the 1990s. They've kept the corridors and the
It's wonderful the way they've combined the new with the old.
Yes, that beautiful old timber.
It's a beautiful day, isn't it?
It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, I can see what you mean. During World War II, Tenerife's wharves had a vital role to play. not the least being that they hosted 800 American servicemen.
It's hard to imagine, but out here there was a submarine base with
right?
2 motherships and various submarines. This was in 1942, and the ships themselves would repair the submarines, and they would also repair people because they were a hospital ship for a while until a hospital was established.
A lot of the servicemen would have been stationed in the area.
That's right, they were. A lot of them were billeted out, and the people of Tenerife took them into their hearts and homes and were very, very good to the
stores and through the Historical Society. There are all sorts of stories to discover about Southeast Queensland history. If you have leads that you'd like to follow, then the State Library of Queensland houses images and ephemera that are available to everyone.
Posties are making the rounds this week, delivering BMAG's latest issue. Inside, you'll find my column in which I share favourite Great Southeast experiences. BMAG is Brisbane's largest lifestyle magazine, stocked full of local news and information, and is delivered fortnightly in the Greater Brisbane area. But if you miss out, you can read it online.
Who would have thought there's a little bit of Madagascar in the Great Southeast? After the break, I learn a thing or two about the lemur. There you go.
A famous financier once said, if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. That saying rings partly true at Alma Park Zoo, just north of Brisbane. For just $75, you can monkey around with other primates, the lemur, and the park's brand new VIP experience.
So, Emma, where did these lemurs come from?
Lemurs, all species of lemurs are endemic to Madagascar, so nowhere else but southwest of Madagascar, just for the ring-tailed lemurs. They're so different to our wildlife in Australia that we all know, so it's nice, different. They're quite loving. They love to jump on your lap and have a bit of a pat on their back. They're really nice.
I guess for the kids, Madagascar, the movies made them really quite popular. They must love getting to see them in real life.
They do. I think every child that walks past likes to sing, I like to move it, move it.
Do they like to move it, move it?
No.
They're a little shy, aren't they?
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it.
You don't have to shell out lots of pennies or peanuts to have a great day out at the zoo.
Should we give him a name? Yeah. How about Hoppy?
Renee Valdman Tentori and her kids Sophia and Isabella pay regular visits to their favourite animals right here.
Renee, this is a pretty special experience for the girls. How long have you been coming here?
For more than 2 years now. So we give each other an annual pass for Christmas every year, so it lasts the whole year.
And living locally means that you come quite regularly?
Yeah, we're just down the road, so we can just pop down and she's got names for a lot of the kangaroos and the animals.
What do they love about being able to visit?
Well, we love that it's very family friendly and it's a good value day out, and the girls just love the interaction with the animals.
I know, and you're not scared at all, are you? No.
Yeah, some bears are omnivores. They like eating fruit, but they also eat meat. So they're normally up in the treetop, in the canopy.
I'm learning all about Raya. She's a 31-year-old sun bear, and at 31, the oldest known sun bear in captivity. The thing that I love most about Alma Park Zoo is that it's really intimate and a very natural setting, and the staff and volunteers here are so keen to tell you all about these animals because they want you to leave loving and respecting them as much as they do.
There's no shortage of exotic species. You can have your own hands-on experience with both the red pandas and marmosets.
Hello.
And they haven't forgotten our cute and cuddly Aussie favourites either.
Hi, sweetie. Hi, Kita.
Kim, she's so beautiful, and you said she loves her cuddles.
She does. Kita absolutely loves to have a cuddle every morning.
So Alma Park does a lot of work with the Koala Foundation as well.
Yes, we do. We offer programs with schools. They come in, they get a bit of a gift package with stickers and stuff. They learn about the koala. They go home with a eucalyptus sapling. They go back and plant it.
It's sad to think that 10 years' time we may not have any of them in the wild.
Definitely. Very sad thing, but a good thing going for the koalas, they do breed well in captivity.
Has she had a baby yet?
No, Kita hasn't had a baby yet, but we do have hopes for her this summer.
Good luck with that.
If you're after an animal adventure, you can find Alma Park Zoo at Dacabin, just off the Bruce Highway. It's open 7 days a week from 9 till 4. It's a special time of the year for nature lovers, with Australia Zoo celebrating Steve Irwin Day tomorrow. The event pays homage to Australia's most famous wildlife warrior. There's a fun-filled day planned at the zoo itself, but if you can't make it along, then you can visit any day of the week between 9 and 5 p.m. For other ways to get out and about in the Great South East, have a look at the Queensland Holidays, Queensland Rail Holidays and RACQ websites.
And there are lots of birds to visit when you're here at Alma Park Zoo, including Gertrude, who's a great area. There you go. Good girl. I do hope you take some time out to come and see the zoo for yourself. The kids will absolutely love it. That's all we have time for. I hope you can join us again next Sunday afternoon at 5:30. We're going to take you somewhere else in the Great South East. Stay with us now. 7 News is up next. Good night.
Here you go, buddy. Want some more?
When we return, Liz looks at why Burleigh is being compared to Sydney's Bondi Beach. Champs attends a lesson for would-be beer connoisseurs at one of West End's newest hotspots. And I relax into a Brisbane River cruise experience that's all about the personal touch. The Great South East is brought to you in partnership with Tourism Queensland and with the help of Queensland Rail Holidays and RACQ. The Motorama Group keeps us moving.
The most brazen